Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the IndieZoNe. My name is Kathy. If you've been following the Idaho versus Kohberger case, you know that Mr. Kohberger on the 13th of December served his 20th supplemental discovery request. And from the beginning of this case, from the first discovery request that was served back in January of 2023, and all 20 supplemental requests that came thereafter up to and including the 20th that was filed on the 13th of December 2024, you know that what Mr. Kohberger typically does is he serves two documents. One is a document that is filed publicly, and it basically says, comes now Brian C. Kohberger by and through his attorneys of record, and hereby gives notice that he is serving the 8th or the 9th or the 15th or the, in this case, 20th supplemental discovery request, and that there is an attachment, an exhibit. It must be up to exhibit M or N or O at this point, and that's where what he's asking for the state to turn over to him that he feels is relevant to the case will be included. That document is the second document. It is filed under seal. So from January of 2023 continuously through December 13th of 2024, we don't know what he's asked for, just like we don't know what the state is responding with, because all of their responses follow the same protocol. There's a document that says, comes now the State of Idaho by and through, undersigned counsel, and gives notice of responses, and whatever they are serving in response to that 9th or 15th or 18th supplemental discovery request is included in a document under seal. So it is quite disappointing to me to see that after 4 days, the document that just basically says Mr. Kohberger has served the 20th discovery request has not yet been released to the public. This follows a situation that occurred just last week. Mr. Kohberger's opposing party, the State of Idaho, filed a number of documents, both public and those that were under seal, on the 6th of December. They were responsive to Mr. Kohberger's crucial motions to suppress, motions to compel discovery, and also a request for a Franks hearing. And however Judge Hippler rules on these filings could literally change the scope of the rest of this proceeding. In favor of the state, if Judge Hippler denies those motions, or in favor of Mr. Kohberger if he grants them. So here we have, for 2 weeks in a row, where documents are being withheld, and I don't know why, because it doesn't really have a lot of information. It just basically says, I'm coming forward now for the 21st time, and I'm filing a 21st discovery request, the 20th supplemental. What I'm asking for is attached in another document that's under seal. 4 days later, still has not been released to the public. We'll take a look tomorrow. Hopefully it will be at that time. But I just would like to give an opinion that I have provided many times, both here on the YouTube platform and the IndieZoNe proper podcast, that I'm concerned about the mountain of information that's been withheld from the public since the beginning of this case. We're now almost 2 years since Mr. Kohberger's arrest, and so much information, all of the discovery, which is the evidence he feels is relevant to his defense, we don't get to see what he's asking for. We don't get to see what the state's responding to. There's many, many other things that have been withheld from the public since the beginning of the case. There have been hearings that have occurred that the public has no information on. There were hearings that were held in Latah County that the public only learned about after the fact. We just had a hearing a week ago where we got notice that the defense was calling up a hearing. It was closed to the public. It was on motions that we didn't know about. There was supposedly going to be some live testimony from who we don't know. Titles of the motion were not provided. The State of Idaho did not receive a copy of that notice of hearing per the certificate of service. And then on top of everything else, we have this very strict non-dissemination order that's been in effect in one form or another since Latah County, the beginning of the case. January of 2023 is when the first non-dissemination order was signed by Judge Marshall. There were 2 more that were signed later by Judge Judge, and they have never been amended or withdrawn since then. So unlike other criminal cases, where once in a while there might be an interview given by the prosecutor or by the defense counsel, or there might be a press conference once in a while, we don't get that here. So we are truly, as the public, kept in the dark on so many things having to do with this case. Speaking of secrecy, we have a couple of new pop quizzes that we put up on the community page today to test our knowledge of the case. It comes directly from the public record, both of which deal with grand juries, one the state and the other the federal grand jury that's involved in this case. Please, when you have a moment, take the quiz, and we'll publish the answers in an upcoming episode of the IndieZoNe here on YouTube. I'd love to hear your comments on all of the above. Your feedback is very much appreciated. I read every comment, and I do appreciate them. I appreciate your time, your attention, and your support of the IndieZoNe podcast and here on YouTube. This will now conclude this episode of the IndieZoNe. Thank you very much for joining us here today.